Tony's right. Okay. Hi, what's up? So, this video is going to be catching you guys up on my reading thing. So, it was like I felt like it was like 3 weeks ago I recorded this, y'all. But basically, it's the first like week in June. So June kind of started with the Sunday. So like we have like full weeks, at 4 full weeks. The first one being the first one. So it's the 3rd going on to the 4th because it's almost the 4th. I'm doing these videos. I do these videos at night. Okay. So it's the first full week, and when I got out of school, I finished my stuff like 2 weeks ago now. And so, yeah, like almost going on 3 weeks now. And so I like finished my portfolio, got my grades back and everything. I passed everything, got like A's and everything, I think. So we're good. So now we're officially kind of like done for the summer, right? So we can kind of like relax and do what we want to do for the summer. I don't have any projects that I need to do before I come back for thesis. Our teacher basically told us for the people that are doing poetry, the teacher is more generative, so we don't really have to come in with anything. We might, you know, have ideas and stuff like that because the summertime we're experiencing life and shit too, but we're not, you know, like we're not doing that. So yeah, I think I like am wired and I have a lot of shit to say, and so yeah, it's been like going. So I just been working and stuff like that, and running through a bunch of ideas. Cool. So the last time we popped in, I was supposed to do like a book a week or whatever, and I like listed the books and showed you the books that I wanted to start. I low-key have not done any of those. I did the 3 books and that was cool, and then like it's been like 2-ish weeks of, yeah, because I was proctoring those weeks, that week of the 16th or whatever, the 12th and the 14th I was proctoring. But I finished those 3 books that week, and then I was supposed to read books like the next 2 weeks, and I really didn't read anything. So I picked up some books, like I picked up Bettina Judd's Pathology, I think it's called, but I didn't like really finish it or whatever. Anyway, I went to Barnes & Noble because I was like, maybe I'm just not inspired by this. Another reason to waste money. But I started reading books, and I got really inspired to read them, so I bought one, and I was looking into another. So the one book that I was looking into was Ada Limones. I forget what it's called. Hold on, I think it's this one. I want to say it's Catching Fire, or is it after the? Oh wait, hold on. Is it Catching Fire? It's a book called Catching Fire. Oh my god, let me see. Hold on. Let me get in here. Let me look at these books. Oh wait, maybe. Okay, maybe it's Bright Dead Things. No, yeah, I think it's Bright Dead Things. Sorry. So I was reading that and I was really inspired. I liked what I was reading more than The Hurting Kind. Yeah, I preferred that more than The Hurting Kind. Like, I felt like The Hurting Kind was kind of like, it was split by season, which is fine, but I kind of just felt like it didn't need to be. And then also I just felt like I could pick out the formula to how things was written, and I just felt like it was like written the same kind of way multiple times. I still like enjoyed it, but I feel like I was reading Bright Dead Things, and I liked it better because I felt like it was a little bit more variety. Like because it's kind of funny because this book, Bright Dead Things, is before The Hurting Kind by like a decade almost. I like that work more than this one based on what I'm reading. Now I can get to the end of that book and be like, girl, I ain't like that shit either. But when I'm reading, I prefer like brain dead things over that. So I didn't get that one because I was like debating on buying a book because I was like, oh god, budgets. And I have Bettina Judd and I have all these other people, so I got that. Started reading it just to see if I was interested in it also, because I feel like I didn't want to like get attracted by the cover and then leave and start reading and be like, god, this is boring as shit. I do want to like take it home if I'm like interested in like continuing to read it, right? So that's how that goes. So yeah, there's that. So ended up picking up another book and reading it, and I felt like I read like a third of the book while I was there, and then I was like, I gotta take this home. So I took it home. I just finished it last night, and yeah, so we're gonna kind of like go over it a little bit. So it's Louise Gluck, I want to say, ARARAT, and I'm assuming it's a biblical reference, because it says Mount Ararat, and I don't know what that is. Is it a biblical reference? I don't know. It feels like it's a, okay, alright, cool. Oh, okay, yeah, okay. It's the resting place of Noah's Ark. Oh, okay. That's what it's supposed to be. As a former Baptist, I apologize. I wasn't paying attention. And now that I'm an animist, I'm really not paying attention. Because I was like, Ararat, I was like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is there? I was like, what the fuck is this? Is this a constellation? I was so ignorant. Anyway, this did catch my eye, the cover. And so I do need to do a series on the covers because I have a side quest project that I really need to get on. And for thesis, we have to consider like the cover because we have to make it. And yeah, so I like the cover design, and that kind of got me. It reminds me of this movie, and like if you're under 18, cover your ears. But it reminds me of this movie called Nymphomaniac, because I forget the name of the person, but it's a trilogy. It's like Lars Van Trier or something like that. I don't know. I think he's like Danish or something. And a lot of that movie specifically, well, that and Melancholy, really like all three, but definitely Nymphomaniac and Melancholia, I think it is, reference, like the vibe is kind of like this thing that talks about like the earth and astrology, well, astronomy, and like these very like, I feel like abstract things. And yeah, it just reminded me of that, this cover for some reason. So this is what it looks like up close. And it just felt scientific-y. So this collection centers on, I'm going to read a little bit at the back. It centers on the death of her father, and so she creates a ruthlessly probing family portrait and confronts the difficulties and intricacies of a daughter's relationship to her parents. The result is a subtle and determined collection in which the poet interrogates both her own life and the whole world that emanates from it. Okay, and so it's like the first one that like her life is updated because she died in 2023. So this is what it looks like in the back. Very nice. So I got pulled into this, suckered into this. One, let's talk about the typography. I like the typography of the type, the font of this thing. This title and stuff like that, but like when I'm like this one, I'm seeing a lot because the Hurting Kind has it, and then like some of Ada Lemone's work has it, and I'm seeing it more and more. So it's a popular choice, that like sans serif kind of thing, and I'm like, whoa, like I really like it. So if you don't know, I'm more of a sans serif kind of person. I just like the clean looks of it. And I like a lot of, personally, I like a lot of spacing in between my words. So I like to set the spacing pretty, not ultra wide so that you can't make a connection between the letters to form a word, but like enough that it feels like each letter is breathable, like each letter is breathing, you know. So about the type and font and stuff like that. But I really enjoyed this poetry collection. I feel like I read The Wild Iris, so I kind of felt like I knew what to expect in terms of her tone. And I read somewhere, and it is true that like she's a very was a very like plain writer, so to speak, kind of like almost kind of like, you know, that character in a movie that rips away your naivete, but kind of like it's not like they have a bone to pick with you, but they're more like, you need to know this about the world. Like it's one of those scenes in the movies where you're confronted, your own naivete is confronted by this like more realistic character that's just like, get your shit together, like this is how the world actually functions, this is how the world actually works, and we need you to get it together because there's some clear things you need to do, and if you don't do them, like the plot of this movie is gonna end. So like you need to go ahead and do this. That's how it seems. It seems like very confrontational, and but frank, realistic, not necessarily pessimistic, but kind of like I kind of get the under like a little bit of like almost like I wish I could be like, lucky for you that you can just live your life without seeing this shit. Almost like I see a whole bunch of shit and I wish I didn't. And lucky for you that you don't get to see the realities of the world. That's kind of how I feel about her writing. That's the voice that it takes on sometimes. It kind of also takes on, it feels like a very atheistic kind of voice. And what I mean by that, like maybe I feel like it's agnostic at best, but very like you believe in something, and not like, oh, like God doesn't exist, so like, but you believe in something and life is showing you that that shit like is not working out for you. Like that's how I get from the writing, and it's not like bad or anything like that. It's not like there's an opinion formed about people who believe that, like, oh, you're stupid or something like that, but it's just kind of like, it's kind of like if the situation proves that like you should have known better, like this person kind of subtly says you should have known better. And that's how it is. So my favorite ones were really in the beginning. I felt like the second half, maybe because I was in a different space and I was listening to Rachel Chinariri. Yeah, I think so. I'm like going through my catharsis crying moments as I wrapped my time of the month up. If you know, if you catch my drift, if you know, you know. And yeah, I really was like, I'm just going through the motions. But I really enjoyed the first like third-ish that I like really went, because I really felt like it was some hard truths without being nasty about it. And I think that it really made sense. The one that I liked, I'm trying to figure out where it is. Oh, here it is. It's called Widows. And it's about, I guess, a game between her mom and her aunt, and they're playing a game. And I don't know the name. I don't know what the game is. Yeah, because it starts off, my mother's playing cards with my aunt, spite and malice, the family's pastime, the game my grandmother taught all her daughters. And I'll just read the rest of it. Midsummer, too hot to go out. Today my aunt's ahead. She's getting the good cards. My mother's dragging heavy trouble with her concentration. She can't get used to her own bed this summer. She had no trouble last summer getting used to the floor. She learned to sleep there, to be near my father. He was dying. He had a special bed. My aunt doesn't give an inch, doesn't make allowance for my mother's weariness. It's how they were raised. You show respect by fighting. To let up insults the opponent. Each player has one pile to the left, 5 cards in the hand. It's good to stay inside on days like this, to stay where it's cool. And this is better than other games, better than solitaire. My grandmother thought ahead. She prepared her daughters. They have cards, they have each other. They don't need any more companionship. All afternoon, the game goes on, but the sun doesn't move. It just keeps beating down, turning the grass yellow. That's how it must seem to my mother. And then, suddenly, something is over. My aunt's been at it longer. Maybe that's why she's playing better. Her cards evaporate. That's what you want. Well, that's the object. In the end, the one who has nothing wins. And so I'm like, shit, this got me. And so this read a lot more like a narrative than anything else, or a memoir. Like if you would think about reading a memoir, like even though this is like a poetry kind of collection, it really, like if you like more memoir-y type things, you'll like it, because it had, like, of course it has the structures of poetry, but it reads more like a narrator telling you things, right? And so I like that about this collection. It wasn't as clear in the other collection with that, but this one definitely has that kind of structure, that it's a poem, but it's very much more narration type. And so I like this. I recommend it to people. I recommend it to people who are grieving or want to reflect on life. So I already recommended it to like somebody that I know, that I feel like would be able to read it and like appreciate how it's written. And I think it's also something for someone who just wants to explore like grief as a topic. Like I am kind of exploring grief as a topic, and death and dying as one. And so I like that this wasn't, I think the thing when it comes to grief and dying and like those sort of topics when it comes to poetry is that like everyone's always like weeping and stuff like that, and then Louise kind of always has like a bit of grit. The writing isn't like overly like sappy. It's almost like she's not a person. The narrator, or isn't a person, or the speaker as we say, isn't one that wants you to sit down and cry. They want you to kind of get on with it almost. Get on with your grief and get on with moving forward, because that's what matters almost. It's like the people are gone, like what can you do? Like you can contemplate about them, that's what this whole book is about, but like like you're not in agreement with them yet, so you may as well go ahead and contemplate and think about life, but move on with your life, you know? And so it's not like I feel like it doesn't keep you stuck like other things that like are just like, oh, it's so sad, like we're just so sad, like I just miss this person so much, like oh my god, and it's just like every page is like just weeping. It's not that. So yeah, that's kind of it. That was the main one that I enjoyed. And then I read through, and like I said, I was kind of like, what? Maybe I read like the last one, because it is a lot about her father, but it's also about like another child, like a child that like spoiler alert, a child that like was lost, and kind of like what happens with that. And so it's like kind of seeing grief from your perspective, and then like realizing that other people have their own like little griefs in life, and it isn't all about you. And I kind of like that approach also to Louise Gluck's writing. So the last poem is called First Memory. Long ago I was wounded. I lived to revenge myself against my father, not for what he was, for what I was. From the beginning of time and childhood, I thought that pain meant I was not love. It meant I loved. And so, yeah. And that's it. So thanks for watching. This was like slowly chipping at my like reading list. So we kind of like skipped almost 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks worth of stuff, and so we're kind of back on track now. So hopefully I'm going to read at least a book a week from now until like the time I go back to school. And I'm actually kind of starting again reading. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you guys later. I'm sorry this is such a long video, but thanks for watching. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.